she just like, what is this bill? What are you talking? Just went off.
Hey, I'm Jeremy with Northwest. Today we're continuing our customer service at scale series, and we're sitting down with our client experience director, Naomi. So Naomi, customer service is always about helping the customer, but what happens when someone calls in pretty angry about a bill or a fee they didn't expect?
What's important to understand or to approach the conversation like that is to know that we're the experts, but we're also the teachers, right? By being a teacher, you're creating a way to partner up with the customer and explain things that for us are easy because we do them every day, but for them, they're new, they're strange, they're scary, right?
Yeah.
There can be so many things. So going back to what you asked, when a customer calls in because they're upset, because they got a bill, for example, don't just let the customer lead that conversation, because maybe there's other factors around that frustrating moment and they're focusing on that one thing. But maybe they weren't expecting a bill because their business is not running yet. It's like not fully operational. Maybe they didn't budget for this. Maybe there's some other stressors that have, that are putting this customer in this really like scary place. So you're just having the understanding that it's not always just about that one thing. Right? Yeah. There could be so many things. And so as the experts and as the teachers, listen to the customer and then help navigate. If you find that it is like a fear or misunderstanding or not knowing something, then walk them through it. Put on your teacher hat and partner up with them to figure out where this is coming from and create that clarity so that you can continue to work with them and find a solution for this particular issue, but also the bigger picture.
Have you ever had that play out where someone's calling in just really mad and thinks we're the big bad guy, but in the end it's, oh, you're actually on my side? Absolutely.
I mean, the nature of our industry is a little bit scary, right? Like we are being hired to file the paperwork, to officially form somebody else's business, to keep them compliant with the state, to be their registered agent, like all these terms that unless you're gonna be a business owner, you've never even been exposed to these terms. Like when I started here, I started as a customer service representative answering phones, and I, answered the phone one day, and this customer, she just like, what is this bill? What are you talking? Just went off. And it was specifically about, we had generated a bill for a service called like the compliance service, which is the annual report that each state requires. So she was calling about that bill, and she was really frustrated because she wasn't expecting the bill, and she was really stressed out because she didn't have, she hadn't put it in her budget, in her plans for payment, right? So I said, okay, happy to, of course I need to help you with this, right? I'm going to help you with this. I'm going to navigate you through this. Let's just forget about the bill for a minute and let me explain, would you be willing to listen to me and have me explain to you what the yearly requirements are for this portion of your business, right? Like we're not trying to bill you just to bill you. This is something that whether your business is operating or not, if you want to stay good with the state in order to do business, these are the things you can expect every year. You can't assume that the customer doesn't know anything, but you can have kindness in the way that you're going to teach them and lay out what the process is in this sector that we're partnering up with them on, right? Yeah. And so it's about hey, no worries, we're here to help, here's the requirement, this is what you can expect every year. Maybe even lay out okay, a total everything that you need for your business in terms of being okay with the state and meeting all those rules and regulations that they ask for, and lay out a timeline, right? And lay out the cost and lay out the process. And as you start bringing clarity to that, she obviously was already calmed down a little bit, but she was starting to be grateful. Oh, thank you so much. I had no idea, right? Again, it's completely foreign to anybody what all this is. And so here's where you have that hat of I became the teacher and I was asking clarifying questions and I was laying out the land for her so that she could understand what to expect moving forward, but also what was happening now.
The service recovery paradox is a phenomenon in which a company creates a more loyal customer by getting something wrong the first time and righting their mistake than they would if they had just done it right in the first place. Has the company ever done anything to turn you into a lifelong customer? Tell us about it in the comments below. Otherwise, stick around. Coming up, Naomi's going to explain how educating your client can turn them from a one-time buyer into a lifelong customer. So what advice would you give someone who has a client who's calling in pretty heated and they're looking to take that conversation back so they can be the teacher?
Navigate the call. Don't let the client drive the call necessarily every single time based on situation. But also, like, just because you're the expert, don't assume that the client knows why they're calling in hot, but also don't assume that the client doesn't know. So no matter what, if it's a customer that's frustrated, angry, scared, whatever reason, but they're coming in hot, as we say, you have to let them say everything that they need to say. You have to make sure that they trust you, that you're going to partner up with them and solve their problem. Whether that problem is going to be, maybe they were right and it was a wrong bill or something, or maybe it's where you put on that teacher hat and you're going to drive that conversation and ask that clarifying question. But either way, once they are done expressing what they called for, that's when you take the control and partner up with them and make them feel like they can trust you to come to a solution in this call, right? But I think no matter what the nature of your business is, if you identify what that niche expertise is, right? Maybe 4 or 5 main categories of why your customers are calling, right? And out of those 4 or 5, then you learn how to ask that specific clarifying question for bucket number 1, for bucket number 2, 3, 4, or 5, and then you know which direction to sort of drive that conversation with those clarifying questions versus just sort of listening to whatever the customer called in for, maybe upset or confused or whatever, and letting them drive it, right? Like you have a set of very specific, based on exposure and experience of how much your customers are calling in about specific things. And I think that's something that other businesses can implement. They discover it themselves. They have like maybe 2 buckets, maybe 3 buckets of those clarifying questions to be able to drive that conversation.
Naomi, thank you so much for taking the time today. If you found this insightful, hit subscribe. We have experts here at Northwest that can help you grow your business. Anything you want to see, just leave it down in the comments below.